There's nothing wrong with it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Bud Herzog Stadium for the Tigers taking on St. Joe Central. Week 6 here, Lee Summit gotten off to a little bit of a rocky start, picking up a win in their last week. 2-3 so far on the year. Kyle, what are you looking forward to out of this Tiger team tonight?
Well, Jordan, you say 2-3, and that doesn't sound like a great record, but really the Tigers have been playing a lot better than that record would show. Against the Blue Springs game, a really close one. Liberty the same way. Staley just got a little away from them in the second half. But what I would like to see from them is some great passing game and just a good offense in total. They put up 45 against Park Hill South in the last game, so we're going to want to see them keep that rolling. And then the defense just to step up. They got 2 interceptions for a touchdown, 2 pick sixes. I mean, that doesn't happen often, and it's something special. So I'd like to see the defense just play the game they like to play, and for the Tigers to control the way of the game.
Real quick here before we get started, we'll take a pause and listen to a word from our sponsors.
When it comes to SUVs, nothing beats Honda. U.S. News & World Report's best SUV brand 4 years in a row, including the 2019 Honda Pilot, one of the millions of Hondas built here in America since 1982. Or the 2019 CR-V, a crossover car and driver calls a better value than the RAV4. And right now, get Pilot with 1.9% APR financing for well-qualified buyers. For more offers, visit kchondadealers.com today.
Today is a new day. A day we've been waiting for our whole lives. We've put in the work to get to this moment, to have this opportunity to come together as a team. Everyone knows KC is on the rise, but what they don't know is we're just getting started. Community America, powering the rise of Kansas City.
Lee Summit won the toss, elected to defer, and we're getting ready here to get underway. Week 6 high school football. Lee Summit squaring off against Central. Troy Huffman steps up, getting ready to get us underway.
Troy Huffman coming off a really good game last week against Park Hill South. He went 6 for 6 on his PATs and even made a field goal. So we're going to want to see some big kicks out of him tonight. It is homecoming for the Tigers, so
And hopefully Lee Summit is able to continue their good form and carry some momentum in from last week. Huffman steps back now, getting ready to get us underway. Hand up in the air, a charge towards the ball, and we're ready to go. Ball received here running up the middle and with some space. Central getting away and dropping at the 27-yard line. Returned by 13, Austin White of Central.
Number 5 was in motion there. That's Trey Eggleston. He's main wide receiver for the Indians. Number 44 with the carry, Alex Pressman. You'll see his name get called a lot tonight as the Indians get rolling here on offense.
11:30 to go. Standing up under center, Quentin Trotter. Snap, drops back to pass. Pass comes over to the left-hand side of the field, but good coverage from Lee Summit there. That's Jackson Fry. So tonight, Trotter 0 for 1 to start the game.
I was talking to Jackson Fry earlier today, and he was watching some footage on the Indians, and we were talking maybe he could get an interception in this game. He said, you know, it's going to be a little bit hard for me just because the Indians are prone to overthrowing a lot of their passes. It's quite overthrown there and didn't really have a chance at the pick.
If you're new to the area, new to the streams, Lee Summit, the team in black and gold, Central in the blue and white. A couple of weeks ago, Lee Summit's soccer team got the better of Central, winning that one 7-0. So we'll see if the football team of Central able to come back. Dropping back to pass is Trotter again, overthrows his man, and it'll be 4th and 7 for Central after the incompletion.
Eggleston put his hand up, was almost ready to take that one and grab it and go, but unfortunately, third down failed to convert, and it'll bring up 4th and 7, so they're going to punt it away. A pretty good start for the Tigers offense, and we're going to get a look at this Tigers defense led by Darius Pearsall here in a moment.
Dropping back to receive the punt, Landon Willis. Been the main man on the special teams unit the last couple of years. The snap is low, the punt is blocked. Still gets a few yards out of it. So it'll be picked up at the 44, and Lee Summit has great field position to start their first drive.
Jordan, they could have just ran it and turned it over on downs, and the Tigers would be in about the same field position, give or take 5 yards. But they're going to have really good field position to start this half as the offense rolls out here, and the Tiger loud crowd starting to get hype.
In their last one against Park Hill South, this Tiger offense looked to be able to do whatever they wanted, scoring points as soon as they needed to, answering several times to the Park Hill South team they faced last week. A little motion out of the defense here. Pearsall drops back, hands one off to Micah Manning. There's a big hole for him to the right-hand side. He's got space and a first down. Finally brought down at the 33. So a good start for this Tigers offense, and the dual threat Micah Manning picks up some yards on the ground.
The Indians were worried about Ryan Belt and Nate Morris on the outside. Some of their linebackers dropped back, and it allowed Micah to pick up that big seam.
Here's Pearsall dropping back to pass, finds Nate Morris over the middle, and the Tigers have picked up some more yards. 9-yard gain there by Nate Morris, the small junior, quick and fast. He's hard to catch for that defense.
Nate Morris, one of his main concerns for the offense was starting slow, and they're seeing like they're going to rectify that here as they're off to a really good start.
Pearsall steps up, gives some orders to his line. He's got 5 receiver options for him. The only man in the backfield is Pearsall. Lobs one up into the end zone. It's Morris. It's caught. Tigers have an early lead, and the student section has a reason to erupt. On the 3rd play, the offense runs. 6-0 Tigers already. You were mentioning just before we interviewed Nate Morse. He was concerned about a slow start in their next game. We haven't seen one here already. 3 plays and a touchdown for this Tigers offense. They went 44 yards, and it came via Nate Morse. So with 10-11 now, the Tigers are going to go for two. It's Ryan Belt running with it. Looked like he got in there, and the referees call it good. So it's 8-0 Lee Summit as we start things off here at Bud Herzog Stadium.
I think the Tigers are showing they have something to prove here at home. They're 2-3, obviously not happy about it.
Sorry, a little technical difficulty there. We're not quite sure when that happened. Tigers able to score a quick touchdown. And again, technical difficulties. We'll try to stay on top of that as we continue here. Excuse us, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a couple of technical difficulties we're trying to sort out here. We'll be back with you here in just a moment. In the meantime, you'll be able to enjoy the action on the field until we can figure out what's going wrong with our microphone up in the studio.
13. Tackle made by number 37, Caleb Wernick.
That's
Today is a new day. A day we've been waiting for our whole lives. We've put in the work to get to this moment, to have this opportunity to come together as a team. Everyone knows KC is on the rise, but what they don't know is we're just getting started. Community America, powering the rise of Kansas City.
It's a mosh pit. Yeah, shawty bad, but she broke and she don't own shit. Mama asked me, son, when the trapping gon' quit. I been riding around through the city in my new bitch.
And time. We're back. Did you miss us? The announcers hopefully fixed for the rest of the game. I'm Jordan Wood, joined by Kyle Cumberland in the booth. Some problems with our audio. A frustrating start for us in the booth, but hopefully we'll be able to give you some coverage to the end of the game with no errors here. Kyle, why don't you explain what they have been seeing here over these last few minutes?
Well, Tigers have been getting some touchdowns, but I think the big thing of what we saw is number 13 for the St. Joseph Indians went down with a serious injury. Austin White, he was unresponsive. They sent a medic out to the field. Eventually had 9 police officers surrounding him with an ambulance coming on the track. He got carted off. Never what you want to see. We are still unsure on what the injury is. Happened on a kickoff, and this man, he's a senior. It really puts everything in perspective as we were dealing with audio issues, and he's out there. At best, he's out for his senior season, and at worst, he's facing some serious life-threatening issues. So send your thoughts and prayers to St. Joe, the team. I mean, how do you play after one of your best players goes down like that? And just to him, Austin White himself, we'd really appreciate it.
And of course, it does put things in perspective. It is high school football. Everyone wants their team to win, but you never want to see someone get hurt like that, especially at this level. Just kids trying to live their life, go to school, have fun, play football. You don't ever want to see an injury like that, especially not to that severity. But we're back now. We'll give you some coverage here over the rest of the game. Just before we got back with you, LaJuan Miller with a pick 6. So once again, St. Joe's offense gets to start over and have another go at things after the miscue on their last drive.
Felix Anudike with the sack there. Provides 6 yards for the loss, and it's making a long 3rd down for the Indians.
So the Indians getting ready here once again on offense as we start the second quarter. Run over to the left-hand side, and there's the Tiger defense pouncing on it immediately. Tackle there by Tyler Terrence, one of the 2 Smash Bros. We've called both Smash Bros names tonight. If you don't know who that is, Kaya Tupino and Tyler Terrence. The team calls them the Smash Brothers. So we've seen Tyler Terrence and Kaya both get in on the action now. And again, St. Joe Central has to punt away. Been some trouble with the snaps to this point. Not this time. Punts high in the air. Landon Willis running in on it. Looked like he bobbled it, but he hangs on. And the Tigers will start their drive at the 37.
Willis came under that one a little hot, hopefully, and gladly he did not fumble that one. Kind of bobbled it, though, but he was able to maintain possession. The Tigers have good field position with 36 points on the board.
So with 11:20 now, the Tigers offense will try again. As you said, 36-0 our score as Darius Pearsall marches back out onto the field, looking to drive his team into the end zone once more. Fake handoff up the middle. Pass goes to Landon Shepard. He's got space over the middle. No one to stop him. On the first play, the Tigers add 6 more. Sophomore Landon Shepard broke a tackle as he caught it and had no one else in front of him on the way to freedom.
Jordan, we were talking last year. 15-6 was the score against the Tigers and the Indians, with the Tigers barely taking home the dub. A lot of sloppy play in that one. So when I was talking to Felix earlier this week, he said his coach told him they're a good team, so he's going to treat them like they are, and they are playing like they are the Park Hill Trojans. It doesn't matter to the Tigers. They are playing a serious game right now.
Troy Huffman on the PAT, knocks it through, and Lee Summit now up 43-0 with 11:12 left in only the second quarter. That's right, 43-0 in the second quarter. We were talking about how you win sports, obviously, and the Tigers having no problems coming about points to this point in the second quarter.
That's true, Jordan. Last year against the Indians, several players on the Tigers were thinking a 100-point win might be possible. Obviously, they were joking, and they narrowly escaped the loss there. However, the Tigers today, with 43, with 11 to go in the second half, I'm not saying 100 isn't possible, but we could see some big numbers being put up on the board tonight.
Well, and after the finishing point of the first quarter, the Tigers were on pace for 144 points. So 100 points isn't unlikely as Troy Huffman gets ready to boot it off once again. This Tigers offense has been good all year, but never this good. 43 points as we have just 11-12 in the second quarter. Huffman sets up, ready to boot it off. And it'll be fielded at about the 1. It's muffed. Now the return will start, pushing it up the middle, and finally being brought down was Will Small.
Small didn't have much on the return there, and the Indians are going to have a tough field and a long field to start their 5th drive of the game. Unfortunately, they've had 4 3-and-outs up until this point. Maybe the 5th one, they'll get a first down.
Correction, Trey Eggleston on the return. Some trouble for us here as we're still kind of catching our bearings after some technical difficulties in the first quarter. Once again, the offense for St. Joe marches back out onto the field. Trotter, the quarterback, looking to lead his team downfield and maybe find the end zone for the first time tonight. First play of the drive is a handoff to the left-hand side, and only picking up about 4 on the run was Johnston.
It's the first penalty flag we've seen for the night. We'll get the call from the refs.
It'll be a personal foul, helmet to helmet on the Tigers. So maybe we'll see that be called a few more times tonight, as we did see the scary injury in the first quarter. 11 minutes left now after the penalty, and St. Joe will have a first down.
It's their first down of the night. Probably not by the way they expected, but they'll take it nonetheless.
So Trotter getting the instruction from the sideline and running back to the huddle, and now trotting up to where he will start off as the quarterback on this play. 1 man in the backfield for him, 3 wideouts. Snap, looking to pass, throws it quickly over the left-hand side. The catch, no, bobbled. Thomas Smith in there on the hit, and it's dropped.
Thomas Smith with the coverage there. Asher just couldn't hang on. It was an incompletion there. Quentin Trotter has been having a hard time getting the ball to his receivers, and for them being able to catch it with only a 42.1% completion rating on the season. Looking to try and get in some here, as he's only had 1 ball caught so far tonight.
So once again, Trotter, 1 man in the backfield, 2 receivers out to his left, 1 to his right. It'll be a quick pitch, and it's Eggleston running it out to the right-hand side, and he'll pick up about 6 yards, 7 yards there by Trey Eggleston.
There's some good blocking there. I mean, corners like Caleb Manning couldn't quite get to Mr. Eggleston as he was running the ball. Unfortunately, still short of the first down, excuse me. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 2. Short one for the Indians, but they've had trouble picking up these before.
Clock still running now, down to about 10 minutes. And St. Joe finally making a little progress on the offensive end. Trotter gets the snap, fakes a handoff, takes it himself to the right-hand side, and he will be marked. Looked like he just got the first down. Michael Garozzo in on the tackle, and it's 1st and 10 for the Indians.
Michael Garozzo had a good rebound week last week with 9 total tackles, 5 of them being solo. Brings his total to 25 on the season, which improves his numbers greatly just in 1 game. A tackle there to stop the quarterback from getting a couple extra yards.
Just in week 6 to this point, so Garozzo having a big impact for that Tigers defense. Trotter in the backfield once again. Snap comes in, he looks to pass, looking to his left, finds a man downfield, and it's intercepted by the Tigers. Jackson Fry in there, caught it, and is pushed out of bounds at about the 35-yard line.
Jackson Fry's last interception came against Blue Springs there. Just being able to read that one as it floated in.
First and 10 for the Tigers from the 36-yard line.
So the Tigers once again will have the ball after the Jackson Fry interception.
Jackson Fry, as I talked to him today, I was saying, man, are you going to get another interception? He said it might be a little hard because the quarterback does overthrow a lot of his balls, but he was able to get under that one and bring it in.
And he actually picked that one off because it was overthrown. So Pearsall once again ready and hands it off to Micah Manning, who gets some yards out to the right-hand side. A solid pickup there for Manning.
Tackled by number 4, Will Small.
Tackle by Will Small.
Second down and 5.
2nd and 5, ball on the 41 for the Tigers. 8:50 left. Pearsall waiting for the instructions from the sideline. 4 receivers out for Pearsall. A man in the backfield, that's Kaya Tupino. Man in motion is Nate Morse, and jet sweep, handoff to Morse. Man tries to break him down in the backfield, but he's unable to get the tackle. So Morse gets back up to the line of scrimmage and picks up about 2 yards.
Morris would have been down there for about a 2-yard loss if John Gonzalez, number 1, was able to bring him to the ground, but Morris was able to elude him. There's a penalty flag on the play. It looks like it's coming back.
Morse does a good job breaking that tackle in the backfield regardless. He's very quick, very hard to bring down. A slippery guy when he's got the ball. No one seems to be able to take him down just because of that speed and elusiveness that he has with that small frame. 8:21 left on the clock. Unsportsmanlike conduct there against the Tigers, and they'll be marched back a little further. But with the success their offense has had to this point, I don't see any problems for them, despite the fact that we're looking at 2nd down and about a kilometer. 3rd and 18 rather, is the total that the Tigers will have to amount to here if they don't want to have to punt it away. Again, Pearsall in the backfield. Snap, he's looking to pass. He's got a man on the right-hand side, and it falls short. Looked like Trent Fell was the intended target there, and it's way short to him.
Trent Fell could have been the target. Landon Shepard could have been the target. He had multiple options on that play, just not able to connect, and it's going to bring up the Tigers' first punt of the game. Not too bad when you're 43 points up, and it's going to be your first punt. Offense has been rolling so far, and with the defense getting a pick 6, it certainly helps your offense.
So Kaya Tupino will drop from the running back position to the punter position. A goalkeeper for the Lee Summit soccer program and a punter for the football program. So he's got that big right leg. He gets a friendly bounce on the punt, and it'll be picked up by the Tigers at the 31-yard line, which is where St. Joe will have to start their next drive.
St. Joe got their first down of the night thanks to a personal foul on the Tigers. We'll see if they pick up another first down here today as they huddled up. Coach is obviously a little frustrated with the miscommunications that are happening on the field when it comes to the special teams. They're going to need to put that in the closet as the offense comes out looking for a hopefully more successful drive than they had last time.
So once again, Trotter sets up shop here, this time at the 32 for the Indians. Back in their own territory here. He's got 2 men in the backfield behind him. An I formation here for Central. Wide receiver jumped a little bit, and it looked like a man on the Tigers line as well. Referee here does signal, and it's against Eggleston there. So is like I said, the wide receiver on the outside jumps a little bit there for getting the snap count.
Excluding the past 5 minutes, so far both teams have done a good job about not getting any penalties except for the personal foul on the Tigers and now an offsides on the Indians. So far, I've been playing a pretty clean football game.
It'll be 1st and 15 for the Indians. Trotter up under center. The snap dropping back to pass. Tries to find a man to the right-hand side, and a good grab to bring that one in. He'll get that one back to about the original line of scrimmage and nothing more.
Caleb Manning and Lawan Miller on the tackle, both combined him down there. Only a 7-yard gain. At 7 yards is still 7 yards. It'll be 2nd and 9. We'll see what the Indians can scheme up here.
Good job by Foster to rein that one in. That pass was way out in front of him. He grabs it, stays on his feet, and is able to pick up a few more yards after the catch. 2nd and 9. Trotter with one man in the backfield. 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. Grozo creeping in here, watching the running back. The pass goes again to that right-hand side, and it's Foster on the grab once more.
All of Trotter's passes completed have been to that right side, so maybe he's favoring that. We'll see if the Tigers defense can read it, maybe get some good coverage on that side. I mean, obviously, they've done pretty good so far, only allowing 3 passes to be completed. And they'll look to carry that into the second half as we have 7:04 left within the second.
3rd down and 3, ball on the 39-yard line. The Indians looking here to move the chains. Their offense has looked a lot better here in the second quarter than it did in the first. Trotter looks to pass again. He's got a man quickly, and being brought down after the first down is Stagner. So good grab there.
Tackled by number 26, Caleb Manning.
Caleb Manning on the tackle was just able to wrap him up there and bring him down. But so far, the Indians kind of putting together a nice drive. It started off with a penalty, but other than that, they've been able to just get some good screen passes, some good looks. Running game isn't there, so they're going through the air, and on this drive, it's working.
Mixing it up a little bit is this Indians offense. And rolling the chains forward once more and getting the ball to the 49. Trotter looking to pass once more. He's got a man, but it's dropped once more. We've seen that a few times for Asher Catechus. The last one was picked off that was overthrown, and he's unable to grab that one.
You know, you'd like your quarterback to hit you between the numbers, but when he at least gets you in the hands, you're going to want to haul that in. Asher, though he had to extend, should have been a completion.
Trotter has looked a bit off in this one. Obviously, being the Lee Summit commentators, we don't see a whole lot of this Central Indians team. But he hasn't been able to hit his receivers right in the hands where he'd like to. That time he does, and it works out for the Indians as they'll pick up 9 yards on the play. So good catch again by Stagner. He's been pretty reliable whenever they've needed him to be.
And they're putting together what looks to be their first real drive of the game. They're going in number 8. Trotter gets a play call, goes and tells his teammates, the defense, looking to get some of that energy that they had when they got to pick 6, trying to relive some of that.
Trotter with one man in the backfield to his right, 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. 3rd and 1. Shouting for the ball several times, a long snap count. The flag goes up in the air. It's going to be called on the Tigers. So they're unable to stay ready and wait for the ball to move. It'll be an offsides and a first down for Central.
Loud crowd now cheering, do it, do it, do it. Unfortunately for the Indians, being that it is a 2-hour drive down here to Lee Summit, Missouri, there is no loud crowd for them. Just a couple parents speckled throughout the visitor crowd, so they won't have the advantage of their fellow students cheering them on, but they'll be looking to get their first touchdown here as they have a new set of downs to move the chains.
5:30 left. Trotter dropping back, ready to pass. He's got a man downfield. It's Stagner. And coverage there by Caleb Manning. Throws his hands up in the air. It wasn't me. But I think the flag was on Manning. It'll be a pass interference where the flag was thrown. Question on what team. Manning was right up in his face. I'm not sure that there was enough contact there to warrant a pass interference. But we'll see what the referees decide because they're the ones that get to make that decision.
It looks like they are going to call it on the Tigers, Caleb Manning specifically. The ref saw a bit too much contact that he didn't like. Pass interference has been a lot of subject of controversy throughout the game of football. I don't know if I like that call specifically, but the Indians are going to now be in striking distance as they're creeping up on the red zone.
Up in the pistol here, Trotter fakes a handoff, looks to pass again. There's the Tigers defense bringing him down. It's Klaus in on the sack, and they'll have to run back a little further now, despite moving the chains on the last play.
Brennan Klaus, a senior, first sack of the season. He's been getting some pressure in all night tonight. And Quentin Trotter is going to have to deal with that pass rush as Michael Garozzo's in on his right and Brendan Class is going to be in on his left.
Gary Elder III warming up the leg over on the sideline just in case. See if the Indians are able to get into field goal position. They might have to use him here. Snap is high to Trotter. We've seen that more than once tonight. He's still going to drop back to pass. Lets it go from the 46. Finds a man, and they'll call it incomplete.
I mean, for Trotter, that's got to be a pretty good play considering how high that snap was. When you look at the alternative, could have been a fumble, could have been Tigers' ball. It could have been like a 15-yard sack, so just getting the incompletion there, it's kind of a godsend.
Foster was the one making the grab there, just unable to keep a foot in bounds, and he is called out of bounds. 4:29 left, 3rd and 15 for the Indians. Ball down on the 27-yard line. Trotter in the backfield with Johnston. He's got 3 receivers out to his left. The Tiger defense has looked pretty solid to this point. We'll see how they can hold these Indians here. Some pressure here. Unable to bring him down, but now finally taking down the quarterback in the backfield. The Tigers defense once again causing pressure and with good result. Sully Creason hobbling off the field. He had an ACL tear last year, so we hope that Creason's okay after that last one.
The offensive line kind of collapsed there. All the defensive linemen got past him. They're like, where's the quarterback? Trotter had stepped up in the pocket and took the minimal 2-yard gain for a 4th down. It looks like they're going to go for it, though.
Just in that funny position where you're unable to punt it and you're just out of field goal range. So they will go for it here on 4th and 13. Trotter dropping back to pass. Got a man to his left-hand side. Tigers in the area, and Tigers with the ball. Picked off by Fry once again. 2 in a row for Jackson Fry. He's still on his feet and moving now to the middle of the field. And is finally brought down.
Intercepted, nice return by Jackson.
Flags down.
Flags down at the end of the play.
Good job there by Stanger to get the tackle.
It was a little bit of a late hit by the Indians, and I think that's what they're going to call, moving the ball forward 15 yards. But Jackson Fry's gotten the ball so much tonight, you'd think he'd be a receiver, but no, he is a cornerback on the defense, catching more balls than the Indians' wide receivers. But Fry definitely liking the action he's getting tonight. And the offense going to have momentum and field position to get this next touchdown.
Well, and you never want to see that late hit, especially after the injury that we saw in the first quarter. That's just, I don't know if it's bad sportsmanship or just a mistimed tackle there, but you never want to see that, especially after what we saw in that first quarter. So Darius Pearsall and company ready to set up shop once again. This time from the 44-yard line. 3:23 left. Pearsall dropping back to pass. He's got Manning if he needs him to the right. He finds a man downfield, and it's caught. Trent fell on the reception, brought it in on his knees. No, rather Jacob Moravchik on the catch, and a big gain for the Tigers.
Unfortunately, if Moravchik was playing in the NFL there, that would have been a touchdown, but since his knees were down, they do mark him down. Still a big gain for the Tigers, and the offense just looks to keep rolling. There wasn't a corner within 10 yards of Moravchik, so always good when your receiver can get that space to your quarterback and hit him where he needs to.
Little miscommunication there on the fake handoff. It's Moravchik again, trying to dance his way forward, and I do believe he will move the chains. Going back to that last big gain by Moravchik, that's just great vision by Pearsall to break away from the defense, find Moravchik free downfield, and a big first down for the Tigers.
Pearsall obviously knows how to hit his guys. He's a Missouri State commit for a reason, and they're going to be in the red zone here looking to get the touchdown.
Pearsall and Manning in the backfield. Moravchik and Morse out to the left. Ryan Belt out to the right. The snap, handoff goes to Manning up the middle, and he'll be grabbed around the ankle and brought down. Not getting many yards out of the play there. Brought down right at about the line of scrimmage.
Manning so far has been having a really good season when it comes to running the ball, and He's had 361 rushing yards this season and 3 touchdowns. So Manning doing all right. Just got a little hung up there at the line of scrimmage.
No shortage of yards from really any player that gets minutes here on varsity. And Manning just one of those threats. Pearsall dropping back to pass again. Morse is the intended receiver. He's got the ball and running to the right-hand side. And again, the Tigers moving the chains.
They're going to move the chains once again for a 1st and goal. Ryan Belt is going to be lined up on that left side. He's been working on these corners all day. Hasn't yet to see a completion, but he'll probably see one now as he's going to be on an island.
Pearsall finds a man to the right. It's Moracek again. He's had a good drive, and he'll make it even better. Moracek fights into the end zone. Touchdown, Tigers. No resistance from the defense. And once again, the Tigers will put points up on the board. 49-0 as the Cannons boom here at Lee Summit High School. We'll see Troy Huffman coming on now for the extra point attempt. They're going to try to make it 50-0 here before the end of the first half. So maybe the crazy minds of the football players saying, let's try to put up triple digits in this one. Maybe they aren't so crazy. We could see the junior varsity team or the second string unit come out onto the field. Huffman there knocking in the extra point. So it is 50-0 before the end of the first half.
If you heard 50 points in the first half, you'd be thinking we're talking about basketball, but no, this is football, ladies and gentlemen. It's just been a great effort overall by the Tigers. Everyone with a lot to play for. Seeing that it is a homecoming game, everyone excited for the dance tomorrow night. But right now, talk of the town is this defense. The Indians have yet to put a score up on the board, thanks in part to these interceptions, a pick six by LaJuan Miller and 2 by Jackson Fry himself. So these Tigers are doing their part to give their offense good looks, and so far the offense has capitalized on every single one of them.
The offense and the defense putting up points in this one. We haven't seen the Tigers fire at this clip yet this season, but clearly having no trouble on either side of the field. Several interceptions. Jackson Fry with 2 of them. Kyle, you said you talked to Jackson before the game, and you said that you wanted to see a pick out of him. How's he done to this point?
Now I wanted to see a pick, just 1, and he's already gotten 2 within the first half. Exceeded expectations, pride for himself, and definitely for me. Him and this defensive unit are definitely doing their part to keep it together for the Tigers, and St. Joseph has had a hard time getting the ball moving.
Meanwhile, speaking of moving the ball, Eggleton's done a really good job being there whenever they need him to, and this time returning the kick gets some really good yards for this offense. So the ball all the way up to the 32-yard line on the return from Eggleton.
Eggleton is one of the silver linings for this St. Joseph offense, as he's their kick returner, punt returner, and one of their go-to wideouts. We'll see if they go to him on this drive.
Trotter in the backfield, joined by Johnston. 3 receivers here for Central. Snap, Trotter looking to pass, quickly finds a man, and dropping it once again. The Tigers try to pick it up and run with it. He had the ball for a second there, just not long enough to be ruled a completion. So once again, dropping the ball is Kotikin.
Kotikin, those are mistakes you don't want to be making, but it is one of those scenarios where he had the ball for a second, took a step or 2. You almost wonder if the refs shouldn't call that dead, because that could have been a Tigers turnover, but they did, and it's going to be 2nd and 10 still for the Indians.
2nd and 10, ball still on the 32. We've got 1:20 left here in the first half. Trotter in the backfield, joined by Johnston. 3 receivers once again for Central. The snap, looking to pass once more, finding some space and trying to run with it to the right-hand side, and this time he will underthrow the receiver. So it's 3rd and 10 now for Central.
You know, we've been talking about Trotter not being able to hit his mans in the numbers, but his offensive line is not really doing him any favors, and that's due in part to the defensive line being so dominant. But as soon as he gets the ball in his hands, he's just having to roll out of the pocket. That's not what you want your quarterback to do. You would like him to have some time. Unfortunately, he does not, and they're going to be looking at 3rd down.
Speaking of running out of time, 1 minute and 14 left. Trotter in the backfield, joined by Johnston. Drops back, looking to pass. Again, pressure from Lee Summit. Rolls out to his left. He gets away from the pressure and running it himself, and being brought down after a gain of about 2 yards. Ladies and gentlemen, our very own Kyle Cumberland is a part of the homecoming court for Lee Summit High School. So we'll be joined now by sophomore Luke Rule, making his first appearance in our live streams.
How's it going, guys? It's great to be here filling for Kyle. Really good game we've got here. Tigers looking really good today. Offense really working on all cylinders today.
You'll be hearing a lot more of Luke likely next year. He's going to be my right-hand man whenever I take the reins.
Really looking forward to working with Jordan. I love him, and he's just a great guy.
I appreciate it. A chilly night here. Luke just got back running to get a jacket here. 57 degrees in Lee Summit. And it seems like we were sweating in the booth the last time we had a live stream. This time bundled up in winter attire here, just not used to the cold weather. But we are officially in fall now. October 4th, and we're finally seeing some chilly weather in Lee Summit, Missouri.
Yes, sir. Living in the Midwest, there's a lot of temperature changes. We had a 30-degree change from yesterday where it was 83, and now today we're playing football in 58-degree weather.
Feels great. Fall's here. Thanksgiving's coming up. Soon it'll be Christmas and basketball season. We'll, of course, be having coverage of those games for you guys whenever we are in that time of the year. For now, we're covering football. Once again, the punting unit has to come on out onto the field for Central. It'll be Connor Root and Landon Willis back ready to receive for the Tigers. A lot of protection. There's been some struggle with the snaps, whether it be on punts or on normal plays. So we'll see if they can fix that here. It is fixed. Root gets the ball up into the air. Willis retreating back to his left. He has it. Dances away from one and being brought down there. So a negative return for Willis, tackled at the 34-yard line.
St. Joe finally able to get a good punt off there and make the stop downfield. Number one returning for the Tigers doesn't gain any yards off the return, so St. Joe really locking it up there.
Only 11 seconds left here in the first half. 50-0 Lee Summit. On pace for 100 here. The offense has a couple more plays in them, maybe trying to add some more. Central here in sort of a prevent style defense. Everyone back, not wanting to allow more points. Pearsall will get the snap and just take a knee here to let clock run out. 50-0 our score. We'll take a quick break, listen to a word from our sponsors. We'll be back momentarily.
When it comes to SUVs, nothing beats Honda. U.S. News & World Report's best SUV brand 4 years in a row, including the 2019 Honda Pilot, one of the millions of Hondas built here in America since 1982. Or the 2019 CR-V, a crossover car and driver calls a better value than the RAV4. And right now, get Pilot with 1.9% APR financing for well-qualified buyers. For more offers, visit kchondadealers.com today.
Today is a new day. A day we've been waiting for our whole lives. We've put in the work to get to this moment, to have this opportunity to come together as a team. Everyone knows KC is on the rise, but what they don't know is we're just getting started.
Community America, powering the rise of Kansas City.
Gear up for Back to Sport at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
We are back once again. We'll welcome the state champion Tigerettes out onto the field for the halftime show, followed by the presentation of the homecoming royalty winners for Lee Summit High School.
This year's Grand Marshal of the Homecoming Parade was 2019 and 2020 Lee Summit School District Teacher of the Year, Blake Lillard. Congratulations, Coach Lillard. And the float winners for this year's parade were, in the sport division, honorable mention goes to softball and girls golf. First place to volleyball. Activities division, honorable mention to robotics. First place to lap grab. To start the traditional homecoming presentation, please welcome the winners of the 2019 Most Spirit Award, Jenna Reed and Hudson Stanfield Myers. These two traveled through a rapid time machine and dressed through decades on me. Let's give them a big round of applause. Next we have our princess, Rosie Cecil, who's 5 years old. Her favorite toy is Hatchimals. Her favorite song is The Circle of Life. Rosie's favorite movie is Lion King because she loves lions. Rosie's favorite animal is a lion because they're the king of the savannah. Her favorite thing to do with mom and dad was go get ice cream. When she grows up, Rosie wants to be a rock star or a hairstylist. Rosie Cecil. Our prince, Jaden Michael Sims, is 6 years old. Jaden's favorite toy is his remote control truck. His favorite song is Shotgun by George Ezra. His favorite movie is Bumblebee. However, he saves the girl and fights all the bad guys. His favorite animal is an anaconda snake because it's one of the largest snakes of all time. Jaden's favorite thing to do with his mom and dad is ride rides at ride rides. When Jaden grows up, he wants to be a marine biologist to study sharks. Jaden Sims. Our freshman candidate is Victoria Metz. She is escorted by Rick Burton and her father Rick Metz. Victoria is involved in volleyball, ability, and workshop. Victoria thinks that the greatest invention ever is TikTok because it brings joy to people. Her biggest pet peeve is when people take her food because it's mine. Victoria Metz. Our next freshman candidate is Emery Shores. She's being escorted by Carson Brulick and her father, Byron Shores. Emery is involved in women's choir, yearbook, student senate, and is a tennis manager. Emery's biggest pet peeve is when people walk slow because she hates walking slow and loves to get places fast. Emery Shores. Our first sophomore candidate is Chloe Doe. She's being escorted by J.T. Jeffrey and her father, Andrew Doe. Chloe is involved in robotics, theater, and preluding. An interesting fact about Chloe is she is obsessed with astronaut ice cream and she is constantly looking for it at every school. Chloe Doe. Our next sophomore candidate is Riley Sims. She's being escorted by Amari Giles and her father Jason Sims. Riley is involved in marching band and student senate. When she was little, she wanted to be a Mizzou Golden Girl. Riley Sims. Our first junior candidate is Casey Morris. Casey is educated by Gavin Wilson and her father, J.R. Morris. Casey is involved in Tiger X, Student Senate, and yearbook. One interesting fact about Casey is that she broke her nose when she was 4 in a bike and still hasn't gotten it fixed. Casey Morris. Our next junior candidate is Bianca Stewart. She's being escorted by Kevin Summer and her father, Kenneth Stewart. Bianca is involved in Tiger Smart, newspaper, Tiger Mentors, track and field. An interesting fact about Bianca is she's been in Lane Abbey in the first grade, and she wonders how she is all the time. Bianca Stewart. Our first queen candidate is Jalen Griffin. Jalen is escorted by Greg Nelson and her father, Raymond Griffin. Jalen is involved in Tiger Act, Tiger Smarts, Project Positive, and Club 21. One interesting fact about Jalen is that she's finally grown an inch since 6th grade. Jalen Griffin. Your next queen candidate is Sophie Penland. She's being escorted by Carl Penland and her father, Randy Penland. She's involved in Tiger X, National Honor Society, Tiger Mentors, and book clubs. An interesting fact about Sophie is that she had a metal ball in her chest for 3 years. Sophie Penland. Our last queen candidate is Yosha Obiwoman. She's escorted by Max Farmer and her father Nicholas. Yosha is involved with Sound of Summit, Golden Tiger Marching Band, Tiger X, National Honor Society, Tiger Pride Advisory, and Student Senate. One interesting fact about Yosha is she is double jointed in her right thumb. Yosha Obiwoman. Your first king candidate is Felix NUDK. He is escorted by Haley Swallow and his mother Cynthia. Felix is involved in Student Senate, Tiger Broadcast and Film, Weekly Wrap-Up, football, basketball, and track. Felix's biggest pet peeve is when people show PDA in the hallway. Felix NUDK. Your next king candidate is Ryan Bell. He's being escorted by Ryan Wheeler and his mother, Kristen Bell. Ryan is involved in football, Tiger Pride Advisory, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and National Honor Society. Ryan can pick a new first name if you want it to be Monty. Ryan Bell. Your last king candidate is Ian Shores. He's being escorted by Lloyd Arbuckle and his mother, Joe Shores. Ian is involved in Student Senate, National Honor Society, Tiger Pride Advisory, and SPE. His favorite conspiracy theory is that Dr. Seuss isn't actually a doctor. Ian Shores. This year's king and queen are being crowned by the 2018 homecoming king, Tyler Williams, and queen, Kirsten LaRue. Will the king candidates please step forward? Your 2019 homecoming king is Felix NUDK. Sitting this out room, surprise. Now, would the queen candidates please step forward? Your 2019 homecoming queen is Igosa Obere.
We are moments away from the second half getting underway here at Bud Herzog Stadium, the home of the Lee Summit High School Tigers. The Tigers are up in this one 50-0 at halftime. The offense and the defense have both been clicking on all cylinders. Just about 2 minutes and 40 seconds away from getting underway here in the second half. Kyle, what have you seen from the Tigers and what have you not seen out of St. Joe that has caused this dominant first half that we've seen from Lee Summit?
Well, Jordan, we knew coming into this was kind of a mismatch. St. Joe is just not quite up to the standards that Lee Summit is, and it's shown on defense. The Tigers have been able to get 3 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, but on offense, they've just been firing on all cylinders. I mean, they have more points in the first half of this game than they do in the games of Liberty, Staley, and Blue Springs combined, so they're not letting anything stop them, and it's showing tonight.
Everyone has showed up in a very big way. Chances are here in the second half we'll see a little bit more out of the second unit from Lee Summit just to try to conserve their players and maybe stay away from injury. We saw that in the Belton game where they were blowing out the Pirates at Belton, so we'll likely see that here with the first half blowout that we saw earlier. The Tigers just 2-3 on the season, but you wouldn't know it by looking at them tonight. Obviously been some miscues on the behalf of St. Joe Central, but the Tigers have capitalized any time that St. Joe has made a mistake. So we'll see here in the second half how St. Joe can maybe react. Chances are it's out of their reach at this point, and we'll see some second stringers for Lee Summit.
The referees are taking the field, and we're going to get started in the second half, just approximately 58 seconds away. Still awaiting the players to take the fields. The Tigers and the Indians were stretching, warming up, as it is kind of cold out there. The field is quite wet, thanks to the rain we got around 3 hours ago. So it's making the play a bit more sloppy than it normally would be here on Bud Herzog Stadium, but nonetheless, the Tigers and the Indians are trudging through it, and they're getting the job done.
October weather in October. We didn't have it earlier on in the month, still only the 4th day, but we're looking at 57 degrees. It's football weather, it's football season. The Tigers have shown up when they've needed to tonight. Just 15 seconds away from kickoff. We mentioned before Troy Huffman's electric performance in his last 2 games. He's been perfect in PATs, as well as hitting a couple of field goals in there as well. Not that the offense is needed in their last couple of performances, but in the one time that they have kicked a field goal, Huffman answered the call, knocked it through the uprights, and tacked 3 points on the board for the Tigers. Points not necessarily needed here in the second half for Lee Summit, but if they do need those chip shot field goals or even the long rangers, Huffman can do that too. He's been very consistent for the Tigers this season. Great start to his season.
Jordan, I would argue that that field goal against Park Hill South kind of did change the tides for the Tigers. It made it a 2-point differential, which made the Panthers play a bit different, but we're at the Indians right now, and that was last week, and this is this week, so we'll start talking about this one.
Landon Willis on the return for the Tigers. Good chunk of yards for him, gets the ball all the way up to the 33. So that's where the Tigers will start things off in their own territory as we get the second half underway. I'm Jordan Wood, joined by Kyle Cumberland in the booth. Josh Walker runs the graphics and camera for us. He does a great job making sure that you guys are seeing the things we're not talking about in terms of score and the pretty effects that you see on the screen. So Josh does a great job for us in the booth. 11:44 left in the second half, third quarter rather. And Darius Pearsall will Tommy Locke will march out onto the field for the first time. And the second stringers have their first shot at the offense. Locke joined in the backfield by Jalen Johnson. And a penalty flag thrown, and it's against Central. It's a block in the back on the return. So we missed that call on the return of the kickoff. But now the Tigers have a little extra yards to boost their start to the second half. Locke in the backfield starts things off with a handoff to Jalen Johnson. Johnson with a good run there, gets about 7 yards on it. And the Tigers firing on all cylinders in this one, and they'll start the second half off the same way.
Jalen Johnson is one of those names. You heard it several times against the Park Hill South Panthers. He's been getting varsity minutes for a while now, and he's not just in here because it's the C team or the B team, but he's also been playing quite a bit with Felix and Darius and those rank A starters. So obviously a good pickup on first down.
Locke dropping back to pass. He finds Landon Shepard. So Tommy Locke, the cousin of Drew Locke, finds Shepard. Shepard makes one drop on the ground. Some oohs and ahs from even the central section. Landon Shepard just kept on moving there. Not a ton of speed on him on the run there after the catch, but just kind of bulldozing his way and a couple of juke moves in there to throw the defense off of him.
You're right. Landon Shepard definitely got 2 guys, not because he just ran past him, but because he did a little sidestep, was able to get around 2 of them before being brought down by 3 more. So it's a good thing to watch when your receiver has to have 3 defensive guys on him to take him down. But Tommy Locke is going to put a man in motion here as he takes a snap.
The man in motion was Anthony Wilson. We see the first stringers run that play quite a bit. This time the defense wasn't confused a bit by it. Wilson in his junior year here gets the handoff and is brought down immediately in the backfield. We saw him leak back there whenever Morse had a chance at it earlier, and this time they actually are able to bring the man down.
It's one of those things where you go into halftime seeing a play consistently, and then you see the JV run it. It's different when the JV run it, and then they're able to make that halftime adjustment to get the tackle for a loss.
Locke in the backfield, joined by Jalen Johnson. The snap, Locke drops the ball on the fake handoff, and it's picked up by Central. So a little miscue there by Locke and Johnson. I think Locke maybe thought he was really handing it off, and the ball just fell on the ground there. Good job by the Indians of falling on it. So it'll be 1st and 10 for Central.
It's going to be the Indians' first turnover of the game, and they're going to have fairly good field position to start. The offense so far, we've seen them kind of get a couple first downs, but then sputter out fairly quickly. We'll see how they do against this defense that the Tigers have for them.
So here comes the Central offense once more. We'll see Trotter still in there. Handoff goes up the middle. That was Johnson. He dropped the ball, but the play was already whistled dead. So the Tigers weren't able to pick it up, but it's not that it mattered anyways.
Adam Johnson was the carrier on that one. He's the senior out of the Indians. We haven't seen a lot of him tonight, but he was able to get 1 yard there. Not a very successful play for the Indians, as this defense, even if it is not the starters, still seeming very dominant for the Tigers.
8:20 left in the third quarter here. If you're just joining us, it was a dominant first half by the Tigers. 50-0 our score. We saw points from the defense, points from the offense, interceptions, sacks, everything you would want to see out of your football team. The Tigers did it in the first half. The pass that time from Trotter is caught and reined in, and a solid gain there by Pressman.
Pressman had a couple carries in the first half, wasn't able to get much out of him, and they're facing short in inches. We'll see if they try and punch it up the gut. Hasn't been so great so far, as the defensive line for the Tigers, with people like number 46, Jordan Payne, at the helm of it, just making sure the offensive line has a hard time blocking for their quarterback.
So the new electronic chains thrown in there at Bud Herzog Stadium this year helps us out in the booth. 3rd down and 2 feet. Trotter keeps it himself, tries to run with it. The ball falls on the ground. Referee shouting that he was already down, and he did get the first down. So Trotter there moves the chains for the Indians.
Trotter was hit once, but able to stay on his feet, and on the second hit, he already had the first down, so referee marks him. That's going to be a moving of the chains for the Indians. Some of their first of the night. Going into the game, they haven't historically been great on 3rd down, only 8.3% chance, which, if you're a probability guy, that's not too wonderful. They've been able to get a couple first downs tonight, though.
You're exactly right. Not too great at all, but They do pick up the first down there, and in the backfield for the Tigers very quickly. A sack in the back, or a tackle in the backfield on the run by Austin Robb.
Austin Robb's a guy I said earlier. We saw him in the Jamboree. He looked pretty solid. He's making himself known. Here's a linebacker. He's a shorter fella, standing at only 5'7", but he's able to get through that offensive line, and it's helpful when your defensive line, it takes almost 2 people to just guard one of them. And Austin Robb was able to get the tackle for a loss there to make it 2nd and long for the Indians.
2nd and 13, Trotter under center. Drops back, fakes a handoff, looks to pass, and in the backfield, nearly being brought down, now finds a man downfield, and he overthrows him. So that's been a common theme in this one, Trotter overthrowing his man. That was Brennan Klaus in the backfield, forcing the pressure, unable to bring Trotter down. Trotter got the ball off, but an incompletion.
Klaus came up kind of slow. He knew he missed an opportunity with that one. He's a little frustrated with himself, but he still was able to do his job, get the pressure, make him roll out and throw a pass. It's hard for Trotter to complete him when he's in the pocket. Nonetheless, when he's out, it's even harder. Thanks to Klaus, he's going to be regretting not getting the sack on that one, but from football perspective, the job was done, and it's going to be 3rd and 13 for the Indians.
3rd and 13, Kyle, you mentioned not a great probability of completing those coming into the game. And with the extra yardage here, thanks to the Austin Robb tackle in the backfield, it doesn't help. A timeout called by the Indians there. So we've got 5 minutes and 4 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. The Tigers still on top, obviously 50-0. They have steamrolled their way through the Indians to this point, and they're continuing to do so with a solid offensive possession, ultimately ending in a miscue and a fumble by the Tigers. But the second stringers that are out there on the defense have made an impact here already in the 3rd.
Oh, absolutely. They're looking like you can tell the difference from the second stringers and the starters. They're playing really good football, bringing up a 3rd down. I don't know about you, but I'm not liking the odds for the Indians to complete this one. He is going to have a lot of options at the wide receiver position, but for the Indians, we've also noticed that their wide receivers had struggled tonight holding on to the ball. Asher Katakis being the main name we have been calling. 3 drop balls from him. It's not a stat you want to see in the stat box, but they're going to need to learn how to hold on to him if they expect to complete this 3rd and more to come.
Trotter in the backfield, and again, a high snap. Payne's back there to bring the pressure. A little bit of a late hit. The pass downfield is dropped by the Tigers. Great effort by Jordan Payne there to break through the line and get in the backfield. How many times have we seen that tonight out of the Indians? A high snap, whether it's on a punt, whether it's on a normal offensive set, it's just been a recurring theme to this point.
Yes, it is, and the center's going to need to get that down going throughout the season and his high school career. It looked like the Tigers had a chance to intercept the ball, but there was quite a big push-off from the Indians. I'm surprised it didn't get the flag. Definitely a lot of seniors that have graduated on the outside the field of play, scream and push at the referees. They did not get the call, and the Indians are going to go for it here on 4th.
That was Kyle Girding there back in the secondary for the Tigers on that last play. Dropping back, going for it on 4th down. The pass is up, and Girding gets another shot at it and doesn't miss it. Kyle Girding on the interception for the Tigers. Running now down the sideline and brought out of bounds at the 45. So junior Kyle Girding, the last play, the ball slips through his hand. A little bit of a push in the back from the Indians. That time, no error made by Girding. A little push again in the back, still hangs on to it, and a great job running with the football, picking up about an extra 16 yards there after grabbing it.
That's exactly right, Kyle Girding. We were talking to him before the game. He was unsure if he was going to be able to play, but with the first half the starters had, he's able to get his chance there, and he capitalizes on the opportunity. Almost had a pick, but unfortunately the pass interference, it was a no call by the Indians. Capitalizes on a second chance there and gets the interception to have the Tiger offense out on the field, trying to get redemption from their last fumble as Tommy Locke takes the snap.
Locke and Johnson in the backfield. This time, no error on the fake handoff. Locke keeps it himself, drops back, makes the pass out to the left-hand side, but the flag is thrown. It looked like he crossed over the line of scrimmage there. So the flag's thrown, and the play will likely result in the ball being brought back a little further into Tiger territory.
It's just one of those things that come with experience, just as a quarterback, knowing where you are on the football field and where the line of scrimmage is relative to you. Unfortunately, Locke probably should have kept it and just ran with it and slid for the 4 or 5 yards he could have gotten. Unfortunately, they're now going to be backed up a little bit further. I have no doubt that this offense can easily pick this one up with the way they've been playing, second stringers or not. They've been playing lights out, and with people like Jalen Johnson and wide receivers like Landon Shepard, it shouldn't be too that hard.
Locke does have that great arm that his cousin had. He's a pitcher for the baseball team and a quarterback here, obviously, for the football team. Likely going to be the #1 guy moving into the 2020 season. So we're getting a little glimpse into the future here. A couple of miscues on Locke's part or just on the offense's part as a whole. But he does have that arm, and he's got a good eye to read the defense and find the open man and hit him whenever he needs to. Locke in the backfield, the snap. He looks to pass again to the right-hand side. It's caught, and the Tigers will have some yards spinning away from the defense there. And finally being brought down is Bryce McKeon.
Bryce McKee with the reception there. Makes a 1st and 15, now a 2nd and 6. Tigers getting some good looks here. As Tommy Locke awaits the call from his coach. The hurry-up offense is a little bit less hurry-up when you have the second stringers in there awaiting the call. But it allows the defense to still be confused when they eventually get set.
No need to hurry up here. We've had an abundance of points, and moving into the second half, the Tigers team still looks to be the team that would have been on top from the very start, regardless of the second stringers being in or not. Locke there, the pass was thrown to Landon Shepard. That's one of the first times that you'll see him drop the ball. A very consistent threat for the Tigers offense. That one just falling through his hands.
Landon Shepard's a fairly consistent starter, playing with the second stringers now. And he's been doing a good job up until that drop. Shouldn't take him off his game too much, as he's now going to be shifted over to the right side for the Tigers. And he might be moving in motion as he is at that tight end position.
So Locke dropping back here, hands it off to Johnson, and wrapped up in the backfield is Jalen Johnson for a loss.
And the clock now is running down to 1 minute left within this third quarter. Time is ticking very quickly as the Tigers are going to punt this one away. 11 minutes there just ticked by as if it was nothing. Probably 3 minutes within the first half is what it felt like. But the Indians offense is going to get a chance to score once again.
Tepino drops back to punt once more, gets this one off, and it will drop down at about the 29. A good bounce moves the ball forward, and the Tigers will pick it up at the 26. With 30 seconds left here, we'll let you know we're having some problems with our internet connection up here in the booth. So we'll switch things up at the end of the third quarter, and we'll get back to you for the start of the fourth. The Tigers doing a great job in this one. 15 seconds left. No team will run out onto the field. They'll just let the time run out. We'll go ahead and fix hopefully what is the end of our technical problems tonight. We'll be back with you shortly. And we're back with you now at the start of the fourth quarter. As we said, it's been a rough one for us up here in the booth. Some problems earlier with audio, now some problems with the wireless connection. So hopefully that'll be fixed for the rest of the night. And here now in the fourth quarter, with 11:30 left, we hopefully have ended any technical problems that we'll have for the rest of the night.
Jordan, you said we were having rough problems here in the third. How about the Indians, though? Down 50-0, traveling 2 hours, cheerleaders, the team, parents, and coaches. Obviously not a way you want to go for such a long distance just to come up so short. But the offense, we might see something different out of them. We're going to have to if they expect to put points up on the board.
Now we'll see a different quarterback coming out onto the field for the Indians. Handing the ball off on that last play was Wetlaufer. And now with 10:50 left, the Indians will set up for a 2nd and 7.
That's a fun last name, Wetlaufer. Don't hear that every day. The Indians are just trying to get something going here. I mean, time is just ticking. They don't really care because I'd say 50 points in 10 minutes of football is nearly impossible. But you never know. And the Indians might pull something out of their tricks here.
Well, the Tigers put up 36 in the first quarter, so no shortage of points on their end, but the Indians unable to put points on the board at all. And still now struggling to do so. Incomplete pass there from Wetlaufer, and it'll be 3rd and 7 for the Indians.
Wetlaufer tried to hit his man, but Jacob Moracek was all over him. There was back and forth going throughout that play, but the referees thought, you know what, they're both going at it, so there's going to be no flag, and I like that call. Just let the kids play as time ticks down, 9:50 left in the fourth quarter. Homecoming game for the Tigers. Senior Felix Anudike was announced homecoming king. It's a big day for him. Got a sack, became a king. I mean, what more can you really ask for?
I would say it's a good day. 2/3 chance for the Tigers football team to have a member of the team crowned king. Ryan Belt also up for nominations. It was Felix winning it. Pass here from Wetlaufer. Looks to overthrow the intended receiver, but it is caught and reined in by Stagner.
You know, Bob Ross once said happy little accidents, and I think that was a happy little accident. When you overthrow your receiver, but you still get the completion. You don't see that every day. We're just having fun up here in the booth. As the Indians look to see them having a little fun down there, getting a first down. One of the few of the night.
It has been a rough one for the Indians. They've played well. I don't know that having 0 points on the board is necessarily a good representation of how they've played. Just unable to convert whenever it's really mattered, and some big-time miscues that have led to the big lead that we've seen that's on the board for the Tigers. That time a run to the left-hand side and a solid chunk of yards. That's the type of thing I'm talking about. People will laugh at me for saying they are playing well. They just aren't able to do it when it matters, it seems.
Well, we have to remember number 13, one of their star players for the Indians, White, went down early on in the game, and it's so hard when you see something like that happen, unresponsive in some of his extremities. And how do you play a football team when one of your friends, your students, your fellow players just goes down like that? It's hard to recover, and it looks like the Indians are suffering from that loss as well.
And another miscue on the snap in the backfield. Wetlaufer unable to hold on to that one. I don't know that that one was so much the center. It looked like the Indians are able to fall on that one. And Austin Robb gets his name called once more tonight, getting credit for the sack on the miscue on the snap there for the Indians.
Austin Robb read that perfectly. He saw that snap and he ran down there, ready to get the football. His eyes as big as dinner plates. He was so excited. Unfortunately, wasn't able to fall down. Still got the sack. It was probably good for 12, 13 yards. I'm trying to do the math right now, and yeah, that looks about right.
It does look about right for this Tigers defense. They've forced them all the way back now to 3rd and 20. A long ways to go for the team that's already struggled in this one. Wetlaufer throws one over to the right-hand side of the field and way overthrows Stagner that time. Defenders in the area. They've been roaming like sharks in the secondary for Lee Summit to this point. Several interceptions causing problems for this Central offense, and they've done it again here.
Walt Laufer may have been thrown to one of us up in here in the booth because that was so far out of his reach. You would have need 2 dudes stacked on top of each other to even get a hand on that ball. They're going to punt it away here, not even going to go for it on 4th. 6 minutes left in the 4th, and it has been quite an uneventful second half as we expected for both teams.
High punt there from Central. They get a decent enough bounce. Ball rolls forward and is picked up at about the 29-30 yard line. So the Tigers will set up shop. Tommy Locke, the second string quarterback, likely the starter next year as Darius Pearsall makes his departure from the Lee Summit football program. Locke, the cousin of Drew Locke, has a solid arm. You all probably have heard that by now. He's just had a couple of miscues that have led to the Tigers unable to put any points up here in the second half. In the 4th quarter now, just ticking down under 6 minutes. Ball on the 29-yard line, so the Tigers will get their drive started. Kyle, what do you like most about Locke from what you've seen to this point in the year?
I like his calmness in the pocket. He doesn't really look out of place. He doesn't get that many reps on the football team, but when he does, he looks like he's been doing this for so long, and obviously watching his cousin helps. And he just looks very calm out there.
The comfortable passer, Tommy Locke, looks out to his right and finds his man. A first down for the Tigers. That's Alex Benassi, a multiple sport athlete. He's got football in the locker. He plays basketball, and then when springtime rolls around, he plays golf as well. So Benassi picks up the first down. The loud crowd, despite the big lead, they have not been out of it one bit. They're shouting first down. We can hear them all the way from up in the booth. Locke with Johnson in the backfield now. He'll hand it off to Johnson. Busting up the middle through the hole is Johnson. And about a 6-yard pickup for Jalen Johnson.
Jalen Johnson is getting those yards. 44, Alex Pressman. He plays offense and defense. Had some good looks tonight on offense. I don't know how good they've been, seeing as they've hardly been able to convert on a 3rd down nonetheless. Got a score. But the Tigers awaiting the play call, and they have it. And Tommy Locke is once again going to be in the shotgun here, waiting for the snap.
Locke joined in the backfield once more by Johnson. Snap a little high. Locke controls it. Handoff, tries to go up the middle again, but Johnson this time only able to pick up about a yard.
It's one of those plays where if you're Jalen Johnson, you might want to try and just run to the outside because your blocker in number 16, nobody around there. I don't know if he had the angle to get around or what was going through his head, but he took it up, and I mean, it didn't turn out bad, but still, it's something of what could have happened instead of what did.
That time it was actually Maddox Tapino, the brother of Kaya, getting some reps here with the big lead from the first stringers. And now Maddox out on the field picking up a yard or two there for the Tigers. Locke once again in the backfield, still joined by Tapino. Drops back, another handoff. Lee Summit clearly wanting to run the clock down. And Tapino will be marked, looked like past the first down marker there. So Tapino, just like his brother, gets in there into the inside, goes up the middle, and bulldozes his way through that line.
We've been blazing through the first half time-wise here. It's 3:10 left. I mean, it's taken us just as long to get so far through the second half as it did through the first quarter, but the Tigers just looking at home here. Loud crowd cheering on again. Just St. Joseph Indians haven't really had the advantage of having a loud crowd. The cheerleaders out here, cold and wet, just trying to keep a happy smile on their faces. Looks like they're going to bring out the chains, and it is a first down for the Tigers. And first down chant by the loud crowd signifies chains are moving as the clock is ticking. 2:30 left in the 4th.
Tigers obviously still holding on to the big lead, 50-0. A dominant performance from Lee Summit. And we've seen the second stringers come out here and hold their own against the starters from St. Joe Central. In the backfield is Tommy Locke, a new running back joining him back there now. Locke awaits the snap, several receivers out there, and it'll be a handoff running out to the left-hand side. And with some solid speed there, and finally being brought down, is Jeffrey Johnson.
Jeffrey Johnson able to get a couple yards out of that play. Could have been bad for the Tigers, but at this point, 1:48 left in the half. I don't think many things are really going to be bad at all. The Indians haven't had their best game. Are going to have to travel 2 hours up north again, probably through some traffic just to get back home. And it's going to be a long bus ride for the Indians.
It will be indeed a sad night for them, coming out here and dropping this one to the Tigers big time. That long drive home, I can imagine, will be quite quiet. Locke there tries to find, it looked like Benassi once again. The pass tipped and knocked down by Caleb Zwirik. So now the clock running down inside 1:15.
You know, I believe the Tigers' success part has to do with Coach Thomas's belief that, you know, this is just another opponent. You can't treat them like they're any worse or any better than you'd expect them to be. You know, we talked to Felix about this before the game, and he was like, I'm going to treat them like they're the best people that we've ever faced. And it looks like the Tigers have came prepared, and they came hungry after a win after Park Hill South. They're going to string 2 wins together for the first time this season.
So the Tigers, we saw them fight back. The chant now from the loud crowd, I believe that we just won. The Tigers, no doubt about it now. They've been running down the clock this entire quarter. It's been flying by. We've had a great time up in the booth covering this game for you. Likely we'll see Lee Summit in the victory formation here after the punt, and we'll just let the clock run out here in the booth.
You know, I believe the loud crowd probably could have done the I believe that we just won chant after the first touchdown because it just looked like a mismatch from the start. But nonetheless, a good game plan by the Tigers offensively and defensively, just being able to overpower the Indians. My thoughts and prayers are with number 13 for the Indians, Austin White. You never want to see a guy go down like that. And everyone here at TBTV8 is thinking about him tonight. It doesn't matter what team you're on. This is just high school football, and this is unfortunate.
Injury or no injury, it was a dominant win for the Tigers in this one. We saw just about everything clicking. The defense put up points, the passing game got yards and got scores. The running game, everywhere. Micah Manning and Kaya Tupino, and then eventually the second stringers, Jalen Johnson, Maddox Tupino back there, getting yards when they needed to and putting points up on the board for Lee Summit. 50-0 our final score. We'll take a quick break, hear another word from our sponsors before we wrap things up here in Lee Summit.
When it comes to SUVs, nothing beats Honda. U.S. News & World Report's best SUV brand 4 years in a row, including the 2019 Honda Pilot, one of the millions of Hondas built here in America since 1982. Or the 2019 CR-V, a crossover car and driver calls a better value than the RAV4. And right now, get Pilot with 1.9% APR financing for well-qualified buyers. For more offers, visit kchondadealers.com today.
Today is a new day. A day we've been waiting for our whole lives. We've put in the work to get to this moment, to have this opportunity to come together as a team. Everyone knows KC is on the rise, but what they don't know is we're just getting started.
Community America, powering the rise of Kansas City.
Gear up for back to sport at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
The celebration has begun on the field. Homecoming week and a big win for Lee Summit on their home turf, improving their record to 3-3 against St. Joe. 2 wins in a row, this one a resounding one. 50 points in the first half, stagnant in the second. Tigers still dominant. Lee Summit with a big win here when it mattered. The Tigers in their homecoming week do not disappoint the fans. 50-0 our final score. Signing out for Tiger Broadcast, I'm Jordan Wood, joined by Kyle Cumberland and Josh Walker in the booth You heard a little bit of a guest appearance from Luke Rule. He'll be up here soon in the future for us. We'll go to our closing for the broadcast, and we'll see you next time.